So let's give a bevel to this surface right here, and you have to kind of zoom in to one of the corners, and you're going to take the line tool, and we want to make a diagonal line that's 10 millimeters over, basically a diagonal line like this. And so I'm going to click on the corner, and I want to make a line 10 millimeters over. So I'm going to type in 10. You don't see it, but now doing that, we can snap to that 10 millimeter endpoint. Click on the corner again. We're going to make a 10 millimeter line down, type in 10, and now I can find that 10 millimeters and then snap to the other one, and it makes a little diagonal line. And this is going to basically what the bevel looks like, and then we're going to make it follow all the way around the surface. So pay attention carefully to this step. So you're going to go to the arrow tool, you're going to select that surface, and the first click, you're selecting the surface that you want this surface to like move around. So with that surface selected, we're going to go over to the Follow Me tool, click on that once. Notice the surface became unselected, but that's okay. You're going to go over to that little right triangle and then click now, and notice that that went all the way around the surface, and if we zoom out, it gave a bevel to that whole shape. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that for each one of those shapes that we have, but let me go back, go to one that's going to be a little tricky for us. So if we go down to the bottom of that leaf, I'm going to zoom in on that corner, and we're going to select the line tool by pressing L. I'm going to make those 10 millimeter lines, but actually, since we did it once, Google Sketchup is going to actually make that snap. So if it turns red, it's going to, you don't even have to type in 10. Just go to there, make sure that there's 10 in the length window in the lower right hand corner, click there. Now I'm going to make our diagonal line. So do the Follow Me tool. You're going to get the arrow selection by pressing spacebar, click the surface that we want to follow around, select the Follow Me tool, and then remember, you want to highlight and click on that little triangle that we made on the surface. Okay. Notice it made the bevel, but if we zoom in here, you can see there's that extra little line in there that's going to give us problems if we don't delete it. So you go back by pressing spacebar and just select that little line and hit delete. And now you can see it makes a nice sharp bevel. Well, let's go check out the other side. Let's see. Looks like that other side is good. So there's a few of them, especially the ones in the bottom here, that when you make the bevel, you might need to go ahead and delete an extra little line. So let's do that here just to show you what that might look like again. So again, line tool, making something 10 millimeters over there, 10 millimeters down, making our little diagonal line. We're going to select the top surface, select the Follow Me tool, and then the second time you're clicking on that surface, and that makes a nice looking bevel. Let's go all the way over here. Okay, see, here's where so you got to kind of go around and check. Here we're having a little issues. So I'm going to press the space bar for the arrow tool, select that extra line, hit delete, select this extra line and hit delete, and it looks like we have, let's see, a surface that's not entirely finished. Let's try this. Okay, so let's select this line in the corner and hit delete, select this line and hit delete. Let's keep selecting these things. Okay, so now to finish this bevel, we should be able to just connect the corner here, make sure we're snapping to that green point to there, and we're almost filled in. There we go. And let's try that one more time. There we go. So just kind of keep clicking those lines around there, and we should be able to make that our solid surface. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out now, and notice I've only showed you 3 of these pieces that have a bevel on here. Let me get a better perspective. But you can go through and now, so we've got this one, and this one. You can now go through and add a bevel to all the rest of these pieces, so that in the end it looks like that. So I'm going to go through and do that quickly, not show you each individual thing, and then I'll show you how to make the base and finish this thing as a solid three-dimensional model. Now that we have all the bevels finished, let's go ahead and make our base with which this logo can be printed onto. So I'm going to go ahead and make that base over to the right, move over, give us some space. We'll kind of slide it underneath the current logo that we have and kind of size things so it works. So I'm going to go ahead and start by just making a rectangle from this green line down. Remember, we made our logo, or the first leaf, that center leaf of the logo, 1,000 millimeters tall. So I'm going to go ahead and just make something that's 1,000 millimeters high and let's say 1,200 millimeters wide. So I'm going to type in 1,000, 1,200. There's a rectangle. If it's too small, we can resize that later. Oops. Okay, so the first thing you can see is that we want to give it some depth, and we made the logo so far 50 millimeters tall. So let's make this 50 millimeters tall as well, but let's push this down, so we're going to give it some depth. So I'm going to go ahead and select this surface, check the push-pull to. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to move my mouse down. See, that's moving it down rather than pulling it up. So you're going to move in the downward direction, type in 50 and hit enter. You can see that we could slide that right underneath there and it'll fit on there perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to, if we slide this thing over and the bottom of this logo, the surface right here touches that, it's going to actually treat it as one object, and I want to keep those as separate objects. So a way to do that is I'm going to go back to our arrow tool, and I'm going to triple click on the select the whole thing, right click on it, and go it up to entity info like we saw before. Nope, let's not do that actually. Triple click, not up to entity. We're going to go to make component. So you can give it a name if you want to. You can call this the logo base and click create. And what we've done is we've now made this thing a component. If I click on any of the lines or any of the surfaces, it treats it like one whole object, and we'll keep it separate from anything else in here unless we specifically tell Google Sketchup to join two components together. And the thing about components is, once this is a component, Google Sketchup now considers this as a solid object, not just empty space in the middle. And the way that we can confirm that is by right-clicking on a component we make, now going to entity info. And now you can see that we've got our name, it's logo base, and it gives it a volume. If you click on entity info and there's no volume there, that means that Google Sketchup does not consider that a solid object, and then it is not something that's able to be printed on a three-dimensional printer. So that's a way to double check if things you make can be printed. So now let's take this thing and let's go ahead and we're going to slide this underneath our Adidas logo that we created. So I'm going to press M, it's our component selected. I'm going to click on one of the corners and then make sure that it's moving in the green direction only. You can see that. So I'm going to move it over to the left edge, and you can see that we're going to have to make this a little bit bigger. It's obviously not quite big enough to fit on our logo to fit on yet. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. With that thing selected, let's go back to our scale command, and if we zoom in, actually under here a little bit, go back to our scale. Okay. And if we click on the one in the middle and pull this out, you can see that I can make this a little bit wider. So again, if you click on the one in the middle, you can basically change the horizontal length of this thing. I'm going to make it large enough just to fit our logo onto. You can see that we need to do the same thing for the bottom of that. So again, we're going to go back to the scale command and click on the not the bottom one or the top one, but the one in the middle, and I'm going to pull this out or scale this out farther. So now our entire logo actually fits on there. Okay. And one last little detail, I'm going to add a little rounded bevel to our logo base. So I'm going to go back to the arrow tool, and once you get the component, if you double click on it, we can now edit that component. See how everything else goes gray? When you double click on a component, it allows you to edit just that component and nothing else. So instead of putting a horizontal line on this, or not a horizontal, a diagonal line like we did before for a bevel, let's go ahead and make a curve. So to do that, I'm going to pick the line tool again, and we're going to make it out, let's say 15 millimeters that way, go down 15 millimeters that way, and now make a little square. Now I'm going to choose the circle tool, put the center of our circle at the corner of that square, and then I'm going to snap to one of the ends of those lines. It's kind of like what we did in the Facebook logo. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to delete everything I don't want. I just want to keep that little part of the curve right here. I'm going to choose our eraser tool, erase all the other parts that we don't want. Okay, so now that's going to give us the shape of our bevel. Remember, we want to take that shape and follow it all the way around the surface of our base. So I'm going to press the space bar, select the surface we want this little thing to follow around. Now you're going to click on the Follow Me tool, and then the next click has to be on that little shape, and goes all the way around and makes a nice rounded bevel. Go back to arrow selection. Now you can see all the way around we've got a nice rounded bevel. Okay. So this is our three-dimensional logo, but it's not quite ready for three-dimensional printing yet. We have our base as a component. That's considered a solid model. But if I triple click on this and just go up to Entity Info, notice it doesn't have a name because we didn't make it a component, and it doesn't have a volume, which means Google Sketchup does not consider that a solid object. So we need to now go back and triple click on each of these sections and make each of those a component so we can join all of those together. So let's go and make a component, and I'm not going to worry about naming these things. I'm just going to triple click on it, make a component, say create for each of these things, and kind of go through this fast. And once we make all of these components, and all of these Google SketchUp will consider solid models, then we can join all of these components together to make one solid model, not just a collection of individual separate solid models. Okay, one last one. Okay, so the last step is we need to now join each one of these components together with the base so it makes one complete solid model which can be printed. So we've got the base selected. I'm going to hold down the control key, get the arrow tool, pressing spacebar, hold down the control key, and I'm going to add all these components so we have all of these things selected. And we want to now join these things to make one solid model, and to do that we have to get the solid toolbar. So you're going to click on View, go down to Toolbars, and I already have it selected, but if you don't, most likely you don't by default. So you're going to click on Solid Tools, and what gets added is this little thing right down here. And in so doing, I just unselected all of my components. So let me quickly go back and select all my components. And the only tool that's available in the free version is this right here. It's going to combine all selected solids into a single solid and remove any interior pieces. So if you click on that button, you can see that they're now not individual entities. Anytime I click on something, whether it's the base or part of the leaf, it treats it like one solid model. And the last test to make sure that it can be printed is to right click on this, go up to Entity Info, and make sure, yes it does, it has a volume. Okay, it's a very big volume because we made it, remember, 1,000 millimeters or a meter tall. If we were going to actually print this thing, we would scale this thing down to fit in the printing volume of our three-dimensional printer. And there you go.